Good morning. Welcome back to the conservatory. Another Monday morning, at least if you're watching this live. So I'll give it a couple of minutes to see who's going to join me this morning. You can probably hear the birds in the garden. Muppets asleep or snoozing just behind me. It looks like it's going to be another nice day. So, hi Bradley, lovely to see you. So, I was thinking about this morning, what I was going to talk about this morning, and something that's been coming back for me over and over again, actually, that it's something that I wanted to talk about at some point. So today seems as good a day as any. And it's about the importance of regular practice. In fact, daily practice. And I think it's really important to say that I'm saying this as much to myself as I am to anybody who chooses to watch this, because I certainly haven't nailed this myself yet. But it is becoming easier to do something every day that moves my practice forward. And so I'm intentionally using the word practice without defining that. It may be that your practice is meditation, mindfulness, sitting silently. It may be that you practice yoga asanas, postures. You may find that breathing practice is the most helpful thing for you. Your practice, your core practice, may simply be connecting to your feet, finding that connection with the earth, resting into your heart center, and breathing, even for a few seconds. So whatever your practice is, whether it's just a couple of minutes of breathing, whether it's an hour or more of yoga asanas and meditation, it's about finding something that brings you into that space, this space. And for some people, it may be something completely different. Your practice may be going for a walk at sunrise every morning. I believe people do that. I've never managed it myself. Your practice may be doing 50 lengths of the pool, but doing so in a way that brings you into your body, and from there into your heart center and beyond. Something that gives the potential of helping you tune into the bigger, truth. To move from the self to what is called in yogi philosophy the self with a capital S. And there's multitudes of ways of getting there. But choosing one and sticking with it is actually the way of getting there. So the quote that I wanted to share, which is from Patanjali Sutras, one of the oldest yogi texts, or one of the best known early settings out of what yoga is all about. The practice of yoga will be firmly rooted when it is maintained consistently and with dedication over a long period. And it's important to know that in this context, yoga does not mean postures, asanas. This means yoga as the whole of yoga, which is about finding, just simply about finding that connection with the universe, with the greater self, the higher self. And as I say, whether your practice is meditation, whether it's simply connecting to the ground, whether it's going for a walk, whether it's doing yoga postures, whatever your practice is, stick with it. Do it every day. Some days you may be able, so for me, for example, some days everything connects, including what's going on inside me, inside my head, inside my heart, and I will start my day with over an hour on my yoga mat, moving, chanting, meditating, sitting silently. And it's beautiful. Other days there isn't the time for that, or I simply am not able to get into the right headspace, but I still do something most of the time. And for me, at the moment, the basic thing that I will do is chant, because for me that brings me to that place quickly. And if I chant, there is more chance that I will sit silently for a few minutes. For you, it may be different. But if you think about something that you do without even thinking about it every day, twice a day, probably, clean your teeth. When you were a child, you had to be taught to do it. In fact, you probably had to be forced to do it. It wasn't much fun. You didn't like the taste. It was something that day after day, it was drummed into you that you do this. And now, you don't even think about it. Part of your morning routine when you get up, part of your bedtime routine when you're going to bed, is you put the toothpaste on the toothbrush and you brush your teeth. You don't even think about it. Daily practice is the same. That consistent effort to do it is what gets you to the point where it becomes effortless. And when it becomes effortless, and that, by which I mean the doing of it becomes effortless, then it starts to get you somewhere. Or so I'm told. So with that in mind, let's sit silently for a few minutes together. I invite you to find your feet connecting into the ground, finding that sense of connection from the feet, whichever part of the feet are connected to the ground, all the way through the legs to the hips, to the sitting bones, so that your spine can release and lift and open. Your head can simply rest on your spine. Let your eyes close gently if they haven't already done so, or keep them open in a soft focus if that feels more comfortable for you. Release your shoulders and allow your hands to rest in whatever way is comfortable for you, on your thighs, in your lap. And bring your awareness to your breath. Being with your breath as it moves through your body. Simply being here now. And each time your mind wanders, distracted, just notice where it's gone. And gently, kindly, bring it back to the breath. Being aware that it is the action of bringing it back to the breath that is doing the training. The action of choosing to return to your breath and release the thought that had distracted you. And when your mind does wander, notice what happens in your body. Have you maybe lost that sense of connection to the feet? That sense of being supported by the earth? Can you reconnect, re-engage your feet? And perhaps it makes you realize that your spine had slumped and it can now start to feel supported again. Maybe you notice that your tongue had risen to the roof of your mouth, your jaw clenched, your lips pursed. Whatever happens in your body, soften, release, and return to your breath. Noticing the sense of the breath coming in through the nostrils. Noticing where in your body it feels most present right now. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So, that noise that you can hear in the background is my telephone. It's an alarm that I've forgotten to turn off. You may have heard it occasionally on these meditations before. It goes on off at 9:45 in the morning. And the alarm, the words that accompany it on the screen are, have you meditated yet? Have you meditated yet? So it's a nice reminder, even whilst I'm trying very hard not to kick myself for leaving it both loud and out of reach. It's a good way of reminding yourself to do this kind of thing, to do your practice. And if sitting silently is just not something that works for you first thing in the morning on a daily basis, if you like the idea of movement a bit more, there's a wonderful practice that I share in my Making Space group called the Tree of Light Breath, which you can do in just a few minutes between even getting out of bed and brushing your teeth. So I invite you to, if you haven't already, join the group and check that out, along with all the other practices that I share. So again, thank you for joining me. I'm now going to go and turn that alarm off, and apologies for the disruption. See you all next time.